Do what it do, what it do. Another episode on Let's Level Up podcast.
You know, don't think about the moment. Think about the bigger picture.
I'm the breadwinner, certified go-getter. Don't compare me to these niggas, cause my bag bigger. I told the hoe to settle down, I ain't your last, nigga. I'm pulling up for a truck like, who was that, nigga?
What it do, what it do, what it do. Another episode on Let's Level Up podcast with your boy Ricky Rodriguez. Yo, today, man, we have a guest, man. Cool peoples, man. Entrepreneur. Great family, man. Great father. You know what I'm saying? Just making things happen in the city. You know what I'm saying? Hey, let's give it up for Mr. Leo. Leo, cut it.
Let's go. What's up,
Let's
Ricky?
give it up. Yo, let's get it. Let's get it. What's up, homie? How you feeling today?
Pretty good, man. A little nervous.
A little nervous. Shit, I'm
Yeah.
nervous too. That's why I put the glasses on.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? Yo, what's up, man? What you call it? Your Instagram, man. Where can they find you on Instagram? You a man that stays busy all the time, so I know you got a couple of them. But drop the Instagrams.
Yeah, my Instagram is Leo Cut It. I'm a barber, so you can find me there. Leo Cut _ it on Instagram and TikTok.
That's what's up, y'all. Make sure y'all tune in. Tune in. So where is Leo originally from?
I was born in Guanajuato, Mexico. I was brought to the States when I was 6 months old, so I've been in the United States for most of my life.
Most of your life, man.
Yes, sir.
And how was your childhood, bro?
I think like every typical, when you're the first generation Mexican coming into America, it was bittersweet, you know?
Yeah.
My parents came from nothing. We're from a rancho in Guanajuato. We moved a lot in my younger ages. We lived in Texas, Arizona, Arkansas, and finally we moved out to Georgia when I was like 7 years old.
Okay. So you said you were 6 when you moved over here.
I was 6 months old.
6 months old. Okay, so you really didn't, like, I thought you had said 6 years old, but you really didn't, you know, you got the experience learning English, everything over here.
Yeah, everything. Como dicen, eres más de acá que allá.
Yeah. Now that's what's up, bro. And do you go back a lot to your hometown and all that?
We have, especially when we first got our residency. We did go almost every year for like the 3-4 years following that. The last time I went was last year. We went to go visit the family and stuff like that. So yeah, we go visit Guanajuato.
You go visit a lot. That's cool. Every
nice
now
out
and then.
there.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. And how do you remember any memories back there? You said you moved all over the place, Texas, Arizona, all that. Do you have any memories as a kid over there?
Not so many. The very small memories I do have were in Arkansas. We have some cousins out there that we grew up with. We're very close with. And I have some very small memories with them out there in Arkansas.
In Arkansas, okay.
But
And then
not so many. Most of the time, I moved to Georgia when I was like 7 years old. We lived in Gainesville. We lived in Lithia Springs. Douglasville is where I grew up. A lot of my memories were made out here.
Y'all were moving a lot, right?
A lot.
Yeah, and do you have multiple siblings? Like,
I got 5 siblings.
5 siblings,
Yes.
so it was fun.
Yeah, a lot of the memories were my siblings. So yeah,
Nah, that's what's up. Same with me. I had it's 6 of us in total. So
Yeah.
So and then some that are coming up too from my dad's side. You know what I'm saying? that are reappearing around there now. Yeah, crazy, man. But what jobs did you have growing up, man?
Man, there's a list of jobs.
Go ahead. We got all the time, bro.
I started working at 13 years old. My very first job was working in laying brick.
Okay, laying brick. 13.
Yeah, 13
Yeah,
years
what
old.
they say, mezcla,
Yes.
y tirar and throw them up there.
And
to the mic show.
I was a pretty big 13-year-old where I started, hitting my growth spurt and I started working out. So the guys had me running all the mezcla, the concrete mortar. And that was my first job. That was in the summer, and then I did it again the following summer. I wanted to get a little bit more of an easier job, and I started doing like I was like a pool guy and elevator cleaning guy, like a maintenance guy at a hotel. My mom was a housekeeper for like 15, 20 years at this hotel. So I worked that. I worked in air conditioning, this company where they built like a lot of air conditioning units. Mm-hmm. So I was the one that did all the like metal walls for the air conditioning units. I worked in a Chinese restaurant. Man.
Everywhere.
Everywhere, man. I worked at elementary school.
Yeah.
I worked at elementary school. People thought I was a principal.
For real.
Yeah.
And you was a teen.
And I was 19 years
19.
old.
Wow.
19. It was my first grown-up job after high school. And
yeah,
I got the job because I spoke Spanish and English. And like I said, the kids thought I was a principal.
Yeah, and what made you get those jobs at an early age, bro?
The hustle, man. The hustle. Like I said, my parents, the highest education they had was high school. I don't think my mom finished high school. I think my dad finished high school. And that was the highest level of education they had. So I seen them hustle all the time. We moved states to states because they were hiring, illegal immigrants at the time here and there, and without sin papeles, so we were moving a lot because they were trying to get better in life, progress in life, and find better job opportunities. And so, yeah, man, I seen them moving a lot, doing, seen them hustle like that. And for me as well, every job I changed to was to better myself. So every opportunity I could, I'd try to level up a little bit,
Yeah, got to, man, got to. And, yeah, of course, seeing your parents and seeing your parents just hustle, bro. You know what I'm saying? It was same on my side. I see my mom have 3 jobs, single mother, just working, hustling, entrepreneurship. And you see that. We're going to get into all the stuff you do entrepreneurial wise, you know what I'm saying? But did your parents play a role in that, or did you have to learn that yourself?
That's the crazy thing, right? A lot of people ask me, hey, where'd you learn this from, or how did you get this business mindset and stuff like that? And my parents, they never taught me that. They never taught the business entrepreneurship.
They just taught you to work hard.
They just taught me to work hard and get it yourself. You know what I mean? My parents, my dad, I would see him change his own oils, change his own tire, plug his own tire, all that type of stuff. So he taught me to figure it out yourself. My mom taught me just to hustle. Hey, paycheck to paycheck, we gotta make ends meet. If one job isn't enough, get another one.
Yeah.
So they didn't teach me what I know now as far as the business and entrepreneurship, but they instilled that hustle and that motivation and that grind in me.
Yeah, to keep going. And you went to college. How was that experience, bro?
College was fun. I do recommend, if you have the opportunity, if your parents came from Mexico to offer that opportunity, create that opportunity for you, go for it. I didn't want to go to college, and I graduated high school with like a 3.5. I had all the opportunity and the doors that were open for me to go. I just didn't like school like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to waste what my parents came to this, country for, and the opportunity that they wanted to create for us. So I enrolled. I applied for scholarships. I enrolled to schools. I applied for them, and I got accepted by West Georgia in Carrollton. And I went, completed my 4 years. I got my bachelor's degree in IT, and it was cool. College is fun.
Dang, you smart as hell, bro. What you major in?
Information technology.
And I'm gonna talk about that because at this moment you didn't pursue that. You didn't keep going with that. But how was that? How was the experience in that field? Because you did work in that field once you graduated, right?
Yeah, so I was interested in IT just because growing up, we had a PlayStation, we had, the desktops at the house, and things would break, and, we didn't have the money to go to, Geek Squad or wherever to go get them fixed. So we just tried to figure it out, YouTube it, and I sparked this interest of like how to fix electronics, how to work on your own, put a memory stick in a PlayStation, or how to change a hard drive on your computer. So I thought maybe, I had a thing for technology like that. So I chose IT, and then, like now IT is a very innovative, very growing industry right now with AI and stuff like that. So I picked something that I could continue doing in the future, something that's getting better in the future. My next thing was like construction, something in engineering construction, but IT was different. I wanted to do that. I gave that a shot, and I completed that, graduated, and I ended up getting a job in the office in Buckhead. That's when I realized it wasn't for me.
It wasn't for you. Why wasn't it for you, bro? And respect to everybody that works. We're not bashing nobody. Some people were born to do that. Some people were born just to work at 8 to 5. Some people were born to be entrepreneurs. We're not bashing nobody. This is the bro story, and he just telling you, from his perspective.
Telling it like it is, man.
Yeah.
No, I you're going to college, you're thinking you're about to create this American dream for yourself, right?
Yeah.
You're going to, have your house, your family, your cars, and this and that. And I thought that was the one way to get it, by getting a degree, getting a corporate job, and working your 9 to 5 and, have that like stability, right? I ended up getting that. I got that 9 to 5. I worked in Buckhead. It felt good driving from Douglasville to Buckhead into an office, wearing, different clothing instead of construction. Mm-hmm. I was being able to wear some polos and some slacks and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But man, it just became routine. I'm a kind of guy where I risk a little bit more. If I can make $1,500.
You became too comfortable.
Yeah, I would go in, and it was just very routine. I go in, I wake up. I mean, I lived in Douglasville, driving to Buckhead. I had to be there by 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I had to get up at like 5:30, leave the house by 5:45 to hopefully make it within an hour. That wasn't me. I just could not wake up, and I started getting to a moment where I was dreading going to this job, and I'm at that job, not motivated. And I was 24 years old.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was staying up late till 3 in the morning. And I'm like, damn, I got to go to bed. I got to get up in like 3-4 hours. Mm-hmm. long story short, it just wasn't my lifestyle. It wasn't for me, you know.
Yeah.
The type of job I had, it was cool. I learned a lot, but I just felt like I needed something else, you know.
Yeah.
And in that moment in life, I was too young to settle for that. I was like, you know, I got a degree. This degree will always stay with you. I have it in my back pocket if I ever need it. Let me do something else, you know?
Yeah, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. And I'm kind of the same way, bro. I work, like I said, no, I'm not slashing anybody, but for me, too, like just seeing every week the same amount of money, the same check. I already know what was gonna drop on Friday. $7.95, same shit. Like I couldn't do that. I like entrepreneurship is crazy. Now you're gonna see maybe 10,000 this week, maybe 2,000 next week, maybe 9,000, maybe zero the other week. That's entrepreneurship. You know what I'm saying? But I love it. It's something about that adrenaline. Like, and if this week I made zero, it make me harder. Go hustle harder, Ricky. You gotta wake up, make something happen. So it's something probably similar. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly that, man.
And we gonna die. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna die anyways.
Yeah,
we know where we going. All right. And how did your story start in the barber life, bro?
So the barber life. I have 2 younger brothers. And growing up, my dad, he would cut our hair. I never stepped foot in a barbershop growing up, ever, because he just was like, yo, I got 6 kids. You know, I can't afford a salon and barbers like that. So he would cut our hair. And, you know, once you start getting to high school, you start caring about your appearance, right? The way you dress, the way you look, the way you talk, your haircuts. And I could not let my dad take control of that. Yeah. I would get roasted. I would get bullied in school. The haircuts he was giving us were horrible. Yeah, and I felt bad for my brothers because they also had to get the same haircuts.
Yeah,
and,
same. Yeah.
And so I took his clippers one day. It was one summer when I was like in 6th grade. My cousins cut our hair.
Okay,
they were little.
They were barbers.
You know?
They were learning too.
Yeah.
So y'all be the ones they were learning on.
No. So I had 3 cousins in Arkansas. These are the ones that we grew up with, really close and everything. Right. Every time we'd go visit them, we'd always hang out with them. Well, their older brother, which is like me, I'm the older brother of my 2. He would cut their hair. And I'm like, yo, Jose cuts, you know, Juan and Frankie's hair. I can cut y'all's hair too, you know, like I should do what he does, you know? And I feel like it was my older brother's responsibility to learn that. So I started using the clippers that my dad did. And, you know, we went from bowl cuts to like at least a solid 2 in the lineup, you know? Yeah. It looked a little better. I started getting better at it. And we were in high school at this point. And I started working on that craft, that skill. And I got a little better. And then friends in school were like, you know, in soccer games and stuff like, they're like, yo, who cuts y'all's hair? I'm like, Leo does, you know, I do. Yeah. Like, man, y'all are fresh every week. And I'm like, yeah, you know, it's the benefit of that. Yeah. So that's how it started, like that interest of cutting hair, you know, the feeling and the appearance that, you know, we wanted to keep up.
Yeah. Nah, that's what's up, man. And then, so throughout that, you got a corporate job, all that. You have all these different jobs going on. You still cutting hair in the meantime, still going through all that?
Correct. So that's high school. College happens, and throughout the time, you know, hair grows, keeps growing, right? So my brothers, I would cut their hair on the weekends. I would cut my own hair just to get better, and I would practice on my brothers. So all this, like, practicing. Eventually, I got a little better. By the time I was in college, that's where I was cutting my roommates and, you know, classmates. They were asking me, like, hey, I just seen you in, like, the earlier class today. You didn't have a haircut. Where'd you go? Yeah. I'll cut my own hair. And they're like, you're a barber? And I'm like, Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I am a barber. Yeah. I charge $10. Yeah, I mean, I'm in college, man. I'm trying to make some money too. So I tell my roommates, hey, if somebody asks you, you know, where you get your haircut at, tell them your roommate's a barber. So that's when I guess you could say I started calling myself a barber and trying to practice on people. One of my roommates was a moreno, a black dude, and the other one was a white boy. Okay. I was like, yo, I don't know how to cut their hair, but I'm gonna try it out.
Yeah, because their hair is different, right?
It's a little
Everybody's
different.
hair is different. So
I was used to, you know, Latinos, my brothers and my friends. And that's when I started getting, you know, a little bit more diverse, you know, with black people hair, white people hair, and Asian. In my second year, there was 2 Asians that, you know, were my roommates, and their hair is hard to cut. Yeah. So like I said, in college,
real thin.
Yeah,
their hair is
straight.
Super straight. Yeah.
So in college,
I got Asian hair too, bro.
A little bit.
A little bit.
But in college is where I started, like, kind of practicing that and, like, seeing that side of barbering, where I just was like, yeah, I'll cut hair, you know, like for $10 or, you know, sometimes in exchange for something else. But either way, though, I wasn't planning on ever, you know, getting to where I am as far as the barber industry. Yeah, it was just always a side thing, you know?
Yeah, no, that's what's up, bro. And you've been blessed to cut celebrities' hair. By the way, we got some celebrities in the building. Shout out Grupo RYE. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we gonna cut their hair too for this. You know what I'm saying? We gonna cut their hair for their event. Hopefully, we cut all Alumbre's hair. You know what I'm saying? All of it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, shop's open after this.
Yeah, shop's open, dog.
They can't see them, but they're right here. It's like
so bro. You know what I'm saying? How was that experience, man? You've been blessed to cut celebrities' hair. Were you nervous at the moment? Like, damn, I'm gonna mess up like that first time, bro.
I will be 100% honest. I didn't know who they were.
You didn't?
No.
Nah. They told you till afterwards or what?
It was in the
Or
moment.
they told you who it was, but you really didn't consume their music or.
So the first time was at Atlanta Truck Invasion. I was at the VIP table in the little pit, right?
Yeah.
And one of my boys was in there with all the artists, and I don't know how the conversation came about, but he was like, "Yeah, my barber's here. Actually, he's got his clippers. You want me to ask him?" He's like, long story short, he's like, "Yeah, tell him to pull up and cut my hair. Just give me a lineup or something." And then my boy comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, bro, the Reyes wants to cut," and I was like, "Huh?" He's like, "The Reyes wants to cut," and I was like, all right, cool. I was like,
and you be taking your clips everywhere, right, bro?
Ready, man.
Everywhere, huh?
Yeah. So I told him, I was like, yeah, I'm down. I'll do it. And after the fact, that's when I was like looking him up on Instagram, like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't know who he is, but all right, sounds good. He's gonna perform. I guess he's somebody.
Yeah.
So that was him. That was really cool. It was backstage in the moment,
Yeah, in the moment,
right before he was about to go on stage. And then the second celebrity was Ivan Cornejo. He DM'd me on Instagram, and I was chilling in my living room, just chilling, watching TV. It was Saturday. I don't work Saturdays. And he hit me up. He was like, "Hey, I'm in desperate need of a haircut. Are you available? I'm in town for the weekend." And I was like, "Yeah." I screenshot it. I sent it to my sister. She's younger. Ivan's like 20 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
21. And I sent it to my sister. She's like, "Oh my fucking God, yes. You better say yes. You better go." And I was like, "Is he pretty big?" I mean, he had like 1.7 million followers. I was like, "Yeah, I think he is." And she was like, "Yes, go." And so I responded. I was, "Yeah, let's make it happen." Very nonchalant. I wasn't trying to be like,
Yeah.
But I was just like, "Yeah, let's make it happen." And he wanted it that night, but I was like, by the time I go to the shop, get my clippers, and then go over there, I was like, it'll be this time. He's like, it's a little too late. Let's do it tomorrow, because he had a show the next day.
Yeah.
So yeah, we made it happen. And long story short, that was really cool because I got there at 2. We ended up leaving at midnight. He said, "Hang out back here, stay backstage, do whatever you want to do."
Yeah. How was that experience?
It was cool. I took my homie that put me on with the first artist.
Oh, okay.
I was like, "Yo, let's go." And he was down, and we hung out with him. And there's some things that we did out there. It was pretty cool. It was pretty fun. And they kept us backstage the whole time. He said, and we were there for so long that the security and all the people at the event, they thought we were with them. So we just started walking in and out. We went in their tour bus.
You say I'm his barber.
We went to the liquor store with him.
Yes.
And we left, and everybody thought Ivan Cornejo was leaving in this blue Shelby. They're like, "Yo, he's over there." But yeah,
that's cool. So that was a cool experience, bro.
Yeah.
Now that's what's up, man. And me and you are the same too, in trying to motivate people to really level up in life, man. I seen you be posting like, you gotta wake up, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Telling people, of course, not everybody built or were born for this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But one thing about too that you pursue people to do is the content creating, man. Is content creating nowadays very effective for your business? What do you think about that? And is it necessary to take you to another level?
I think it's very necessary, right? Especially in the barber industry. If you think about it, bro, out of sight, out of mind, right? Mm-hmm. If you're not posting, if you're not reminding people you're available, if you're not, just popping, creating content, how do you expect people to remind or like just book you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, it's content creating is a way to express yourself. Gone are the days where you could just post a before and after picture. Yeah. And people will be like, "Oh, that's fire. I want to go get a haircut with him." No, there's a lot of people that got some great work out here now. You want to kind of encourage people to want to book with you for a reason. Yeah. So you can show your personality. You can be yourself on social media. People will go to you because now that's a 30, 40-minute appointment that they don't have to feel awkward with. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They might relate with something. I do a lot of like extracurricular activities, and I post that and I promote that, right? Yeah. People might see there's something in common with me, and they'll be like, "You know what? I like this guy. I'm gonna go to him, and I could talk about side by sides, or I could talk about fatherhood or something." Yeah, yeah. So you promote that. You are who you are, right? And in the barber industry, there's millions of barbers out here, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, nobody's gonna be Leo. Yeah. Nobody's gonna be me. There's different things that I've walked through in life and experiences that I went through that you cannot replicate. You cannot be that. You know what I mean? And in our shops, nobody next to me or around me is gonna be just like me. So my experience that I give my customer is único. It's unique to me and him. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, it's very important to be able to post that and promote that on social media. That's what's up. And if y'all caught that, he said shops. Let's give it up for him. 2 shops right now, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's give it up. Let's give it up. So hey, he leveling up in life. He got more coming. You know what I'm saying? So it you know what I'm saying? He just gonna keep on making things happen, man. Hey, one thing.
Hey, shout out Grupo RYE. They about to leave the building because they got big things coming up. You know what I'm saying?
Thursday.
They
See you
time
guys.
is worth money. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we catch y'all, bro. Love y'all, man. Keep leveling up.
Be safe.
Yeah, bro. Nah, but that's what's up, man. I love what you got going on. You got the businesses, on lock. I know it's hard. It gets hard. And we're gonna talk about that as well. But can you name a few sacrifices, man, you had to make to get where you at now in your journey, man? Just so people can see, because people will see you up here at a peak, you know what I'm saying? But they don't know everything you had to go through to get there.
I think one thing that I think a lot of people can relate is knowing when to say no, right?
Yeah.
There's times when you get invited by the homies to go eat dinner, or to go play this soccer match, or to go do this last minute thing, or to do this last minute trip. There's always this, unforeseen.
Trust me, I know Leo said no to my podcast a lot of times.
Nah.
Trust, just because you was busy, bro.
Right,
You was in the process of the second shop. You're like, yeah, bro, we gonna make it happen. Just give me a little time, which is good to say no.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, there's times when you just know you have to know when to say no, right? You can't always be too available for everybody.
Yeah.
And then holding yourself back from your goals, from the things that you want to get done. So a lot of times for me, it was giving that up. That because man, I grew up wanting to be around everybody.
Yeah.
I wanted to be available. I wanted to be that person you needed. I got a truck. You need a truck? I'll help you move. I got a trailer. Hey, I can do this. I can do that.
Trying to please everybody.
Everybody, man. Yeah. And like I said, at the end of the day, I was putting myself at the end.
And it was draining you.
It was. So for me, one of the sacrifices was knowing when to say no and stop being too available for everybody else. Work on yourself. Get your stuff done, right?
Yeah, because if you're right, they'll be right.
Man, and that's exactly how it is, bro. Like, there's just like that metaphor that they say is like, if you got your glass of water, and your glass is empty, how are you able to pour into others if your glass is empty?
Yeah.
Let me re-up my cup so I can continue pouring into others.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of those.
That's right. Y'all heard that. Make sure y'all taking notes, man. So after, I took it a little forward. I got too excited in the conversation, man. But all right, you had the corporate job, right?
Right.
After that, did you become a barber after the corporate job, or how did that go? Why? How did that career end?
Correct. So I had the corporate job. I was working in IT. Before IT, I left a DirecTV and Dish Network job where I was installing satellite cable. That was independent contract work. I loved it. I loved it because I had 5, 6, 7 installations a day. Every installation paid about 100, 120. I was knocking out 6, 7 houses a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Making money, man. I was killing it. Going in early, leaving somewhat late as well, 5, 6 o'clock, still able to do everything else. That job hit like a plateau. IPTV services came around, like YouTube, Hulu, Disney Plus, all these like streaming services that kind of killed that, right? I would show up to installations and people were like, yeah, I don't want a satellite dish on my roof. They said it was going to be an app, this and that. So I went back to doing that after I left my IT job. I actually got let go of that IT job.
Yeah. You got let go of that?
I got let go, bro.
Why?
Why, bro? I had no motivation to be there.
No motivation. So you wasn't putting effort in. It showed. Yeah,
it showed, and they, cordially we got together, and the vice president of the company was like, hey, so this is where we're at. What do you think? I was just like, I'll make it easy for you, bro. I'll bounce. I'll pack my stuff and I'll head out now. You don't even got to go through all that.
Yeah. And
it was cool. It was like, we shook hands and all right, thank you for the opportunity. We're gone. But I went back because I knew I could go back to that. Right. Yeah. I had my truck. I had the equipment. I had the ladder. Everything. I still had that to be able to go back and bounce right. Back into that. I went back into that. That only lasted about like a year. Right.
The TV network and all that.
Dish Network satellite installation, it lasted about a year. That got really slow because of all these apps that started streaming, live TV.
Netflix, all that stuff, yeah.
And one of my roommates at the time, he was like, hey, man, why don't you just come to the shop? You get off at 10 o'clock in the morning. I would hang out at the barber shop and get a haircut or just hang out with him. Yeah. He was like, why don't you just ask the owner if you can cut hair here, since you get out early. You don't got much work. I'm like, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So I talked to the owner of that barber shop, and he was like, you cut hair too? Like I would go in there, fix things at the shop, lights and cable and stuff like that. Yeah. And then he was like, you cut hair too? I'm like, man, there's a lot I do. I just do a little bit of everything. Yeah. Can I get a chair? And he was like, yeah. So I started cutting hair there.
Yeah, that's what's up, bro. That's what's up. And you've been leveling up since then. And talking about that, have you had an experience where you messed up somebody's hair and you had to find a solution right away? Or did you mess up a hair and they came out mad? Did you ever had an experience like that?
So one different thing that I do as a barber is that I don't rush into the cut, right? I prevent those situations because at least in the consultation, I take my time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's my first time cutting your hair, right?
Yeah.
When you sit in my chair, I'm sitting here talking like, hey, what's a good cut look like to you? Like, can you show me a picture of, what your, a time and day that you like?
Yeah, and barbers got to have that, because I never had no barber tell that.
I'm telling you.
So you got to.
It's important in the consultation to be able to communicate, the do's and the don'ts and the, what you like and what you expect, right? Because sometimes people will show you this Instagram model on Instagram and be like, yeah, I want this cut. I'm like, okay, so let's go over this. This guy's got curly hair. You got straight hair. What do you like about this cut? Is it the fade? Is it the curly hair? What is it? And then you kind of like consult them about that to then tailor a cut to them.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I prevent a lot of that miscommunication that, I'll fuck them up or whatever. I did have a story, though, that I cut this client's hair exactly what he wanted. He was like, what do you think, man? He's like, you're the barber. You let me know what you think will look good on me.
Yeah.
He had the most porcupine hair, bro. It was so straight. And I was like, I'm gonna work this to my advantage. I'm gonna be like, bro, you need a buzz cut.
Yeah.
A buzz cut. And
how's a buzz cut?
It's like a 2, 3, or 4 on the side.
Oh, okay,
on the top.
Yeah, on the top.
And I'm talking about this guy had like Pauly D type hair, right?
Yeah.
And he wanted this like, blowout taper and stuff like that. And he was like, bro, I want to switch it up. What do you recommend? I took advantage, or I used that to my advantage.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's do a buzz cut, man. A buzz cut with a fade on the side, kind of like what I'm rocking, right?
Yeah.
He was like, you think it'll look good? I'm like, bro, it'll look really good, bro. It's summertime. You'll feel fresh. You don't have to come back, so often. Your hair will last longer. Long story short, I was like, okay, cool. We're going to hit it with a 4-guard, all right? That's cool. He was like, yeah. I was like, it's going to be pretty short, but I promise you, the fade's going to look nice. You look good. I can line you up. And he was like, okay. So we did it, man. Throughout the whole cut, he's just looking in the mirror, like, trying to check. And I'm like, bro, just trust me, bro. I'm not done. You're looking at one half, and it looks wild, I was like, just give me a second. I finished the cut. I show him. Keep in mind, bro, he's like 15, 16 years old. All his life, he had long hair.
Yeah.
He looks at it. He's like, almost starts crying.
Yeah.
Of frustration. He was like, wow. Short, man. And I'm like, I told you it's going to be short. He's like, all right. I was like, you like it? He's like, yeah. I'm like, so I could tell he was not happy, man.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, you'll be fine. I promise you. It looks good. And I looked at it, bro. I was like, the haircut's fire. Bro, 2-3 weeks later, bro, that's the best cut I've ever had. I'm going to keep rocking that. What'd you do on top?
Yeah.
Till this day, I've seen him. I've seen him at Mami Taco.
Yeah.
Till this day, he's rocking the same
He's rocking the same cut. That's what's up. That's what's up. Nah, and it's cool because even my kid, man, my kid went to go cut his hair with Leo. And that boy, because I think you was out of town this past time. And my kid needed a haircut bad. I was like, hey, bro, you need a cut. No, I'm waiting for Leo. Then I seen a post that you posted, and you was booked up like for 2 weeks. I was like, bro, man, he's booked up, baby. I was like, I can't, Like, no, Dad, you got to take me to Leo. He left me the freshest. So y'all make sure y'all go and lock in with Leo because, it's hard to get him, you know what I'm saying? Because he's always busy, bro. But you hard in the cuts, bro. That's what's up. In your journey of entrepreneurship, bro, did you ever feel like quitting, man? Like saying, man, this is hard. Like, I know the first shop was probably hard to get people in because, you got to work. It's a work in progress. Yeah. People think the success comes quick. No, it takes a year, 2, 3 to build. Yeah. So did you ever felt like quitting in your journey, bro?
I've never felt like quitting, but I've questioned what I'm doing. Yeah. Right? Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing it right? You know what I mean? Do I have the support? Do I have the team that's going to follow me?
And did you have other people, you know what I'm saying, like question you about it?
I had family members and people that were just like, you sure that's what you want to do, man? You went to college for this and that. And, I'm like, I'm not sure, man, but it's worth trying. I'm a firm believer that, there's time. You know what I mean? Yeah. A lot of people say there's not a lot of time. We're only here for one time, this and that. But if I lived to be 90 years old and I was 26 years old when I first opened, 28 years old when I first opened the shop, right? If I lived to be 90 years old, man, that's, 62 years left of my life that I could fuck up today. Next year, you know what I mean, the next 5 years and still have, 50, 60 plus years to redo it. Yeah. So I wanted to give it a shot, and I would question if I'm doing it right. If I'm doing the right thing, is it worth it? But I never wanted to quit because I wanted to complete what I wanted to, right? Once I opened up the first barbershop, bro, it was a blessing. I started that barbershop with 8 barbers, strong team, and I had 12 chairs. I had a goal to fill them chairs up, filled them up, and about a year and a half in, I expanded that barbershop, knocked down the wall that divided us, and this other shop made it bigger. Yeah. So yeah.
Just kept leveling up for real. Now that's cool, man. And what advice would you give a young barber, sitting in that chair trying to do what you're doing? What advice can you tell him? Because, a lot of people get frustrated. They see you, you know, you got your own recipe. I understand that. You got your own recipe. Everybody, like, what works for you may not work for the next person. But, you know what I'm saying? What I tell people about entrepreneurship, if you're just doing it for the money, bro, you're not gonna go.
Right.
You gotta have a passion for it. You gotta love it. You know, you gotta really just be addicted to this. You know what I'm saying? You gotta want it real bad. And like I'm saying, and if you do it with love, you're gonna get more rewards in life, which is more than money. It's your time. You're gonna be free, right? So what advice can you give that young barber right now, bro? Or he could be an old barber in a chair, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That trying to make it to a level where Leo has made it.
Correct. If you're a barber starting in the industry, or fresh in the game, it is exact same thing, man. That availability, right? Yeah. There was a guy that I'm quoting. He said, "Your best ability is availability."
Yeah.
You have to be available, man. In the beginning, you don't get to pick and choose what clients you want, what hours you want, what days you want. You have to put in the time, right? Yeah. When I first started, man, I was there 6-7 days a week. Sundays, if somebody requested a cut on Sunday, I'm coming in for 2-3 cuts. But guess what? You create that demand for yourself, right? Yeah. You say yes to almost everybody. Yeah. You know what I mean? You become available to everybody. You just got to put the time in. People will see my stories and, where I'm at, in my current position in life, right? I don't think I'm where I want to be. I aspire to have more and be more, but I'm in places that people aspire to be right now, right? It took time to get that. I'm 33 years old, and I told you I started cutting hair around high school. Yeah. I've been putting in the time, building in the relationships, building in, practicing that craft ever since then. Mm-hmm. But people that met me 3 years ago think, damn, this motherfucker blew up in 3 years. Yeah. It's not like that. We got to put in the time.
Got to, man. And we were talking about it, too. Like, one time I went to a barbershop, bro, and there was a dude sitting down. There was another dude, and he was like, and I was like, hey, man, I was walking. I needed a cut. So I was like, it was like, let's say, I don't remember the exact time, but let's say it was like 7:30 or 7:35 and they shop closed at 8. Let's just say that. I was like, yo, y'all got time, man? We about to close in 25, 30 minutes. I'm like, bro, I'm willing to offer 100, 150 for a cut right now. They looked at it and like, that what you talking about, right? In those moments, right?
Yep.
Like, gotta make it happen.
Saying yes. Imagine, right? I'm that barber that's like, I've been here since 7, 8, 9 in the morning, right? Yeah. And you come in last minute like that. I don't know who you are, man. I don't know what kind of experience, what experience I'm gonna have with you, right? But I'm willing to give it a shot. I don't know who you are, but I'm willing to learn, right? Yeah. You're a busy guy. You're coming in late, offering that kind of money for a haircut. Let me find out who this guy is. Yeah. You know what I mean? And guess what? I cut your hair. We chop it up. We'll have a good time. Ricky, my name is Leo. I'm here for you, man. Next time you need a cut, let me know. Yeah. I'm gonna accommodate to you. Eventually, you'll work with me in my schedule. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, those are relationships you got to build.
Stuff like that you have to do. Of course, not your whole life, but when you beginning, you know what I'm saying? You had to make those things happen, right? Those are sacrifices.
Literally, man.
Had to be made. Because have you had any experiences having to cut hair on like a holiday or something just because you had to?
Yes. I mean, dude, holidays for barbers, those are the times that we get busy, right? Yeah. So I quickly realized I can't take the same vacation days that you take, right? Because I'm missing out. Yeah, I'm gonna take my Christmas holiday, my vacations after Christmas. Yeah, I'm gonna grind out a little bit, miss, the morning time with my family. But I'm gonna get this money, and these clients are willing to pay because that's the only time they're off. Yeah, you gotta imagine, you're working, they're working. If you're both off, you're both off. Yeah, who's helping, who's providing for them, right? But these guys are willing to pay you double or $100 or $200 for these Christmas cuts, these early morning cuts. 'Cause let's be honest, bro, you wake up and you're like, cool, we're just hanging around the living room, this and that. I'm going to go in the shop for a little bit. But, yeah, in the beginning, you have to make those sacrifices, man. Like, spring break time, it's not your spring break time. Let these people come see you for their haircut so they can go to spring break. I would take my vacations after their spring breaks. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah, you got to be in there. Like I said, man, your best ability is availability.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. Make sure, like I said, I've already said it before. Y'all make sure y'all take some notes because he really saying something that y'all can learn from, right, bro?
Every time.
Yeah, and you're a very busy man. You also got the ATL side by side. I want to talk a little bit about that because that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? And how did that project start? Was it just for fun? Did you look at it like a business, or how did that start for you?
Show the merch, man.
Show the merch.
Look at it.
ATL side by side. Hey, y'all make sure to tune in with the bro. ATL XS. You know what I'm saying? Go to their page.
Yeah.
You know, they got some dope merch. So y'all make sure y'all tune in and buy some, bro.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So how did that project start for you?
So I met Valdo and Gus, right?
Okay.
They created the Instagram page.
Shout out to them.
Yes, sir. Valdo and Gus, these are the homies.
Yeah.
So I was a barber, right?
Yeah.
They come into the barber shop, they would get haircuts, and they would start asking like, "Hey, can we be the last one of the night?" You know, because we got things to do afterwards. Bro, they would pull up in the Raptors with the side by side. You know, a side by side is one of those UTVs. The people that nowadays, you know, it's a side by side. You sit inside of it. It's like a big ass 4-wheeler. Yeah. Right. For those that don't know what a side by side is.
Yeah. Can-Ams.
Yeah, Can-Ams, Razors.
Yeah.
So they pull up in those in the trailer, right? Yeah. And I'm like, where y'all about to go? They're like, we're about to go riding. You know, we're going to Moreland or going to Camp Creek. Yeah. I'm like, man, that's nice. You know, and I've always been into like 4-wheelers and stuff like that. I just could never afford one, but hey, I got friends and clients that are willing to take me.
Them things expensive, bro. And when they mess up, they even more expensive.
So one of my clients, Gus, he was like, "Hey, bro," I was like, "If I'm your last one, come out with us tonight." I'm like, "Say less, I'm going." I cut him up, bro. I probably rushed this cut just to get in that truck and head out. Yeah. But I cut his hair and yeah, we went out there, and I love to create content, right? I like to record things in my experiences. And I was recording these videos of, us and trails and stuff like that. And I'm showing the guys. They're like, "Bro, send me that so we can post it on Instagram." Yeah. Cool, enough. And so another time happened, and I did the same thing. I took some dope videos. I did some edits, sent it to them. It got to a point where they're just like, "Bro, just log on to the page. Log on to the page and post. You got some good content. Just log on. They'll quit asking us if we can, if you can send this to us, whatever." Yeah. So, yeah, that's how it came about. I became, I guess you could say.
A partner.
Or you're someone that ran the page, right? Yeah. And, bro, I ended up buying one. Yeah. I was like, "Yo, put me on. Where do I get one of these? That's too much fun." So I went and got my first one, and then I became, like an active trail rider, active member with him, and I would get my own content in my own buggy, and I would just create content and post it on the page, and it's where it's at now. We're at like 50,000 followers now.
Oh, nice. Congratulations to you guys, man. Y'all out here really leveling up on that side, too, in Atlanta. In Atlanta exactly. and really to the world now, because y'all got some people out there, too, all over the place.
Yeah, so by the time this podcast comes out, probably, bro, this Friday, we got this big-ass ride. So it's pretty cool, man.
So if we don't drop it by then, y'all definitely gonna see the content, because Leo gonna be Leo out there active shooting, man. And he out there shooting content. So so
June 13th.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. And also for like that, we went to Puerto Rico together. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the homie Sig. Look, we got some of his goggles here. You wanna get some good merch too? Go to Sig, SIG. And he got some dope merch stuff. But shout out to him. He brought me out to the bike life world, and I told Leo about it. How was your experience in Puerto Rico?
It was a blast, man. Puerto Rico was something to remember.
The bike life was crazy out there, huh?
Yes.
It's crazy,
man. I was in the Can-Am, in nice seatbelts and everything, bro. These guys were out there doing wheelies in the rain. I felt safe, but I just was like, man, that's
you wouldn't learn how to do wheelies, bro?
Nah, I'm good,
I think it's past our time, right? Yeah.
I got 3 fractured bones in my neck, man.
Oh shit,
so
No, we can't. I want to learn how to wheelie, but with the 4 wheels. I think I'll do the 4 wheels.
They got it. I'll record and I'll watch.
That's it, bro. That's what's up, man. And you're also an amazing father, man. How did your life change to the better when your blessing came to your life, man?
Man, when we had our kid, my wife and I, we had our son. It literally put that flame under my ass. Yeah, it made me make moves.
Did you have the barbershop or not yet?
No. I was going to barber school.
Oh, okay.
I had the idea to go to barber school when she was pregnant. Wow. And I said, hey, 9 months in your belly, 9 months of school that I can finish before he's born. Let's do it. She was like, okay, you're going back to school. And I'm like, yeah, I have a vision. I have a goal that I want to do. I want to open up my own shop. And if 9 months of those, he'll be in your stomach, then, I can, go to school. And it was about 1.5 years that I did. And yeah, I ended up, what was the question?
About leveling up, like, about really like what was it?
You said that I had the barbershop.
Yeah, the barbershop. As far as like you, because you said you quit the No.
So having my son really put the flame under my ass, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I got to go to barber school. I got to get my barber license and open up a barber shop to really create this freedom that we were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah.
When you have the leverage with your time, you're able to create this freedom as an entrepreneur, your schedule and everything. So that really literally put the flame under my ass and had to make me make moves.
Had to make moves, man. Cause I bet you, cause see, I already had this question in mind. That's why I lost focus. But look, did they tell you, like your wife told you, hey man, you taking this risk at the wrong time?
That was a part of the conversation. We were thinking, all right, we're about to have a kid. You know, we're married. We don't have a house yet. Are you sure this is what you want to do? Because it might. You know, it's risky, man. You're an entrepreneur. You don't know what your next check is gonna look like, right? Yeah. You don't know how you're gonna get your next. You had
to secure the bag,
and so
you had to have the bag secured already. And she probably thought, hey, your job was better than.
Yeah, I mean, starting off as a barber, I would lie to her and tell her I made $150 when I only made $20.
Just to not make her feel, or so she won't be, feeling bad,
discouraged.
Yeah.
So she won't be discouraged. And what I chose to do as a barber, I mean. At the end of the day, yes, I got a degree. I could always go and apply for a job and make, some secured money, right? A paycheck that I'll have every 2 weeks or whatever, a salary. But having a kid, man, really put the flame under your ass and made you want to do something with yourself. And to me, it was to open up a shop. I had the support, the clientele, the strong clientele that I had, that if I opened up a shop, I could cover overhead for, a couple months in the beginning until I built up a team. But as I was in barber school, man, me doing what I'm doing, networking and talking with people and creating relationships, I built the team fast. I assembled the fucking ¿cómo se llaman los Transformers? You know.
Yeah.
So I assembled a team, man. I just was able to create relationships with students at the school that I was going to, barbers that I worked with, and people through Instagram that saw my. I documented everything, right? I'm in barber school, and I'm like, hey, I got a name for my shop now. Hey, I'm gonna open up a shop. Hey, when I finish school, I got about a month or 2 months. Tap in. Let me know if you want to be a barber. And I created this community and this team. Before even having my shop. I finished school on a Wednesday. I signed the lease to that shop on a Friday. Yeah. I was ready.
And Normals Barbershop. You came up with the name. Why Normals?
The Normal Barbers, right? The name, if you see it, it's spelt it's spelled not normal, right?
Not normal. Yeah, it's the word normal is spelled not normal. Yeah, and go to his Instagram. He's got it right there.
Exactly. The Normal Barbers, right? The story behind the name was there's a TV show, I think it was like Jersey Shore or Pauly D was something. I don't know. Pauly D wore a T-shirt and it had Normal on there, right? And it was spelled kind of funky as well. Yeah. I wanted to recreate that shirt in barber school. I recreated it and I flipped the R and then I put the A upside down like that. Yeah. I wore it to barber school. Everybody was like, yo, that shirt's trippy, man. I like it though. Or people are like, yo, I like your shirt. And they read Normal and they're like, but hold on, is that backwards or it's upside down? So like the feedback that I was getting was kind of cool. It's just you look at me and you didn't just look at me. You were like, yo, hold on, I like that shirt. So I had this epiphany one night, right? And I was just like, the Normal Barbers, how does that sound? I looked at the name and I instantly thought branding. Like this is branding. A brandable name. It doesn't say Leo's Barbershop, Leo's Fresh Cuts, none of that, right? And I'm a firm believer, if you're going to create something, sometimes certain things, certain brands, you don't want to put your name behind it, especially like a shop, because if I were to ever, want to partner or put it with somebody else or sell or something like that, right? They don't want to buy Leo's Fresh Barbershop or Leo's Cut It, So it was a brandable name that I really fell in love with. Yeah. I seen it on a shirt. I seen it on a hat. I seen it on a hair paste. I seen it on hairspray. I seen it on everything, right? It's a brandable name that I really fell in love with. And I wasn't finished with barber school. I didn't have my license yet. I didn't have the shop yet, but I went and reserved the name with the Secretary of State. It was available as a barbershop, the Normal Barbers. I locked it in, reserved the name, created the LLC, and about 8 months later, I ended up opening my account, and it was that. That's how the name came about.
That's what's up, man. And do you see yourself having like a gel or hairspray with the Normal logo on there?
Yes.
Having it in Target and Walmart's everywhere, man. That'll be dope.
That would be amazing. That's nice. I would love to, be able to get into retail stores like that. But for one, it's just having that name recognition, right? Yes. Have it on a shirt, have it on a hat, have it on your shorts, have it, everywhere. Stickers, products. A lot of people, when I cut somebody's hair, I'm using certain brands, and they're like, "Yo, what's that product you put in my hair?" I would love to be, for that to be like,
this is a Normal product.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's my product. Dope. Yeah, you see the bottle, it's Normal sea salt spray. Normal hair paste, Normal fibers, Yeah. So it'd be nice. I could see
that's
leading
cool.
that way.
That's cool, man. And of course, you got the merch also for the barbers and for the ATL side by side. For the Normal Barbers, you got it on your page, right?
Correct.
The merch, shirts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I do like drops here and there.
Drops every night.
I drop a couple batches here and there. I don't have it like
a store or anything like that. Yeah. So y'all need to make sure y'all link in or start following him. So when them drops come out,
Exactly.
Y'all get y'all's. Y'all catch yours.
And I know there's something behind the brand. There's some support behind the brand because most of the times when I'll drop 40 to 50 shirts. They're gone.
Yeah,
They're sold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what's up.
And that to me makes me feel like that name is holding some kind of value, you know, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and it's cool, bro. You normal, but not normal.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So that's dope, right?
Exactly.
That's dope, bro. And have you learned a lot in your journey in the of course in the business? Because you started off, you know, like you said, nobody taught you the game. You really just went in there, just went in there and learned. You just went into the river or the ocean, whatever, and started swimming by yourself. You learned like that,
bro. You learn a lot, right? I really didn't have anybody to ask the questions to, right? I had one friend in barber school that he opened his shop 1 year before me. He was my go-to when it came to like, hey, what did you do here? Hey, how did you do that? Hey, you know, who did you call for this? But he was opening it in a different, you know, city. So our city in Cobb County has different restrictions and requirements than the city of Atlanta, you know?
Yeah.
So he also opened up a shop where it was an existing shop, right?
Yeah.
Mine was like an old nail salon. So there was things that he had to do that I had to do differently. I had to, you know, build almost a shop from the ground up.
Yeah.
I believe he already had a barbershop. He just had a remodel or something like that. And it was different his way. So I could, everything that I was asking him, he's like, oh, I didn't have to do that. Oh, I didn't have to do that, you know, or actually I just said, you know, I just moved in, you know, this and that. I was trying to go the route where, you know, you pull the permits and this and that.
Yeah.
Bro, I didn't know any of that.
Nothing. And then you accomplish one thing, and then it's you're like, okay, I got it. Then it's another thing, another. It just things.
It was so many setbacks, man. Even the workers that I had working, they did you wrong here and there, you know. So it was just a lot of learning that you went through in the beginning. But all those experiences, man, is knowledge and wisdom that you carry and you hold on to the next experience. Yeah. I opened up another barbershop, and that was a lot better, a lot quicker, a lot easier. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because
that's what's up. And shout out to everybody in your chairs, man. Shout out to everybody in the Normal Barbers 1 and the Normal Barbers 2. And hopefully we get the 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 and on. Exactly. Right, bro? Then that's what we working hard to get, man, all over the place. Yo, one thing we do on Let's Level Up at the end, man, we give these dreamers, anybody in any industry, man, a motivational message. Yeah. All right? But look in your camera, let them know, you know what I'm saying, a message, a motivational message from Leo, man. Keep following their dreams even when it get hard, bro.
Yeah, seriously, man. It's one of those things where a lot of things may not go your way, right? If you aspire to be an entrepreneur, you got to do this, all right? You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to become great. That's it. Don't feel like you're catching up with anybody. You don't compare yourself with anybody. You don't have to be great to start, but you need to start to become great.
That's right. Y'all heard him. Let's give him some claps. Shout out my homie Leo. Appreciate you coming through. It's an honor, man. And I hope we take another trip somewhere else, man, because we had a blast, bro.
I'm excited.
Had a blast. We're going to talk about it because they're going to have a big event in Mexico with the side-by-side. So
yes, sir. I do got an announcement.
Yeah, go ahead.
I do got an announcement.
Go ahead.
We're going to save it for the next episode.
Let's do that. You sure?
Yes.
You sure you're going to make them wait?
Yeah, we're going to make them wait.
Man. Recap 1 year. We'll recap in 1 year. Y'all going to see he about to really level up. Yo, like I said before, man, y'all like the content. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, all that great stuff, man. It's free to support, baby. I'm not asking you for $1, $2, $3, $4. No, I'm asking you for a little click, subscribe. Like, share, comment, say who you want up next. What questions you may have for Leo. Leo's gonna respond them there. Right? Hey, appreciate you again. Some more class for Leo. Cut it, man. Hey, keep leveling up, baby. That's all we're gonna keep on doing. Let's get it.